Did XXXtentacion plan his assassination? Was Jahseh's death a staged suicide? What the industry terms an assisted suicide? Did X sacrifice himself? Welcome to Hidden America in the final installment of I Spoke to a Baphomet, the XXX story. In order to understand the whole story, we must understand the Drake angle. In Drake's I'm Upset, he raps, so what's next? Jump out of bed like I'm possessed. End up getting loose and getting pictures from my ex. SMS, XXX, XXX, like XXXtentacion. That's the only time I ever shoot below the neck. Why you keep shooting if you know that you're dead? That's the only kind of shit that gets you some respect. Got a lot of blood and it's cold. They keep trying to get me for my soul. Obviously, in this verse, Drake is subliminally claiming the murder of X. Now let's go deeper in the lore of this six-guard Drizzy Drake versus Jahseh Enfroy, lovingly remembered as XXXtentacion. Now I'm not saying I 100% agree with this tidbit, but the rumor is X found out about Drake's bastard child with a porn star. Not only that, but after being warned by Aubrey Graham Drake, X is allegedly the one who told Pusha T about Drake's hidden child. X obviously didn't know Pusha T was gonna ether Drake with the track The Story of Adidon. At that point, Drake was Teflon, he was untouchable, but that diss track ruined him. That diss track was released on May 29th, 2018, less than a month before X's death. It was believed the two rappers put their issues behind them after X claimed Drake's God's Plan was a ripoff of his Helping Hands challenge, but only a few months earlier, Drake rapped on Look Alive. They, meaning X, won't be expecting shit when Capo go to slide. Cause I told them we put that shit behind us, but I lied. It must be mentioned, in 2022, Drake rapped on BS. Damn, maybe I should do a 20. Maybe I should break that 20 and do a 10. Maybe I should break that 10 and do a 5. Then it gets live, do a 5, that's another 10. If he held his tongue on that lie, he'd be alive again. XXX. X is the Roman numeral for 10, so 3 10s, XXX equals XXXtentacion. This is a direct reference to X when X hopped online talking real spicy, even saying Obbs' mom was thick. Again, this fueled the rumors Drake was involved in X's demise, almost gloating, no less during the XXX murder trial. It's important to note the name Drake literally translates to serpent, dragon, or Satan. Drake equals Dracula, equals energy vampirism. Drake chose the owl for the OVO logo for a very specific reason. Tantrics and other practitioners of black magic sacrifice owls on different occasions throughout the year. Different parts of the owl are then used in rituals which bring about varying results. The tantrics extract and drink the blood of the owls. Each year in India, owls are massacred on Diwali for luck and prosperity. Lilith translates to screech owl in the King James Bible, Isaiah 34:13. Lilith is the mother of vampires. In Jewish folklore, she is considered Adam's first wife. The White House is even in the shape of a giant owl. There's even an owl hidden on the $1 bill. The owl has eyes to see in the dark. On Bohemian Grove is a massive owl, an idol of Moloch. Now Drake is born 7 days before Samhain, or what we would call Halloween. Anton LaVey once said, "I'm glad that Christian parents let their children worship the devil at least one night out of the year." Now, Drake's album was called Scorpion. It's important to note the scorpion is obviously associated with Scorpio. Scorpio is the only transformative sign in the zodiac. In alchemical symbolism, the scorpion, which was symbolized by the Egyptians in the underworld as the scarab beetle, is the seed, is the cocoon. The eagle or the phoenix is the butterfly, the higher expression of Scorpio. Scorpion was released only 11 days after the death of Jahseh. In esoteric mathematics, 11 can be represented as 5 plus 6, or the pentagram, the 5-sided star, and the hexagram, the 6-pointed star. According to Crowley, 11 is known as the great magic number. It is symbolic of the synthesis or final product of the alchemical great work, similar to the concept of Eliphas Levi's Baphomet. Crowley explains about the great work. There is a single main definition of the object of all magical ritual. It is the uniting of the microcosm with the macrocosm. The supreme and complete ritual is therefore the invocation of the holy guardian angel, or in the language of mysticism, union with God. X was clearly studying Crowley before his death. We could go as far as calling Jah a Thelmite. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. It should be noted Jah was very familiar with numerology and aware that he was a Life Path 33, the master teacher. Shortly before his death, X was telling his followers to study the laws of nature, aka natural law. X said you must learn and integrate the law of attraction, law of abundance, law of equivalent exchange, law of cause and effect. Clearly, X was studying the 7 Hermetic principles. In his own words, he clearly understood the law of equivalent exchange. In order to get something, fame and infamy, you must give something in return, life. This is simply a variation of the law of cause and effect. X believed the purpose of the human race is evolution. More correctly, create and evolve. Otherwise, you are stagnant, stuck, physically, emotionally, and energetically. X explained, you are only enslaved if you can't control your mind. Your mind is the matrix. X understood all is the mind. The universe is mental. X was quoted many times saying he wasn't gonna make it past 21, almost like he knew his expiration date was coming. Did X choose to sacrifice himself? He actually said this multiple times in live streams, that the only person he would sacrifice is himself. At this point, Ski Mask distanced himself from X, claiming X tried to sacrifice him. X's mother Cleo wasn't an option. Was all the Drake misdirection a pre-planned distraction? Drake is clearly an initiate of the Brotherhood. All attention, energy, is good attention. Was X's death the ultimate sacrifice to kill his old self, his ego, the adversary? This was brilliantly illustrated in the sad music video. The old X with gold and black hair, which symbolized duality, is killed by the new enlightened X with the blue hair. This symbolized the new enlightened form of Jahseh. X had learned the lost key. He realized how to control and manipulate the energy around him, as shown in the video. This video is highly symbolic. Now I ask again, did X plan his own assassination? Staged suicides are much more common in Hollywood and the music industry than most are led to believe. But why? Jahseh, like Mac Miller, knew his time on Earth was limited. Most of these artists are worth more dead than they are alive. Now in X's song Slipknot, Jah raps, "I will kill myself if it benefits all of my friends. I'm sorry, mama, I didn't mean to fucking hurt you. If I could test my worth, I'll show you heaven on this earth. So if I'm alive or in the dirt, I swear to God you'll be my first priority. Before the hurt, that means for better or for worse." X's former manager, Bruno Dickens, claims stage suicide was X's fate. At this point, X was trying to do better, but he was extremely nervous about the charges he faced. X did feel like a literal god, but it could be argued X was mentally unwell at this point and infatuated with the idea of death. X was almost obsessed with the idea of reincarnation. X mentioned it to his own record company that he was not going to make it past 21. X was nervous, worried about getting convicted on multiple charges and facing serious time. The Geneva phone call was used as a witness tampering charge, and X thought it was the final nail in his legal coffin. 2 days before his death, on June 16th, he was told to turn himself in by his lawyers on the witness tampering charges. X knew these charges carried serious time, potentially decades of his young life. Now remember, X considered jail a living hell. Jahseh did not adapt well while being incarcerated. Now imagine a 10 to 29 year sentence, because that's exactly what X was facing. And you know X's new record company had a life insurance policy out on him. Now I briefly mentioned how X was a 33 life path, the master teacher, so X was obviously into numerology. Let's quickly break down the name Jahseh Enfroy. Both names are 6 letters long. 6 is the number of man, as man was created on the 6th day. Funny enough, Drake is the 6th god. Jahseh is of Jamaican origin, meaning God gives or God speaks. Jah is a well-known name of the God of Israel. Enfroy is a little more tough to decipher, but allegedly means inspiration and is of English origin, while others claim it is of Scandinavian origin, meaning giver of peace. Jahseh's mother's name was Cleopatra, a well-known moniker of Isis. X knew he was guilty of his pending charges and was terrified to lose his freedom. Only days before his demise, X talked to his mother about potentially going on the run. Cleo told X that wasn't an option. He was too known. Cleo kept it a buck and said he can't run. He's far too noticeable. Too many identifiable marks, face tats, etc. X deep down knew this was the truth. He didn't want to go through a public trial, dragged through the mud, when at this point he was literally white hot. In his mind, he was the biggest artist in the game, and he was never going to be hotter. Jah also knew he left a powerful catalog of work for his die-hard fans. Sad was released in March, a highly symbolic video where X kills his old self, the old self who made him famous. At this point, he was a #1 Billboard artist. His girlfriend at the time, Genesis, found out she was pregnant, and X found out his bloodline was gonna live on. He was overjoyed, but he was terrified. He came up with a magically protected sigil or name for his child, Gekum, meaning a higher state of consciousness. Now this begs the question, did X sacrifice himself so his son wouldn't face his father's karma? The sins of our father, right? Jah was becoming more and more unhinged about going to jail. X had just signed an extremely lucrative deal and wanted to collect on all of it to help Cleo, Genesis, Gekum, and his little brother. X signed a deal worth $10 million with Empire to release his next album. X wanted to become forever young, so assisted suicide was his only option out to become immortalized. Sound crazy? But under the circumstances, no. X wanted to have his legacy kept pure. On the day of his murder, June 18th, 2018, X randomly wants to buy a new bike. Mind you, X already owned at least 3 bikes. Cleo tells X to wait for security, but X rushed out saying security will take too long. This was strange for Jahseh. In a later interview, Cleo says she found hundreds of candles that X must have came back and dropped off. He goes to the bank without security, wearing his well-known Louis Vuitton strap bag, and puts $50K into the bag, withdrawing the money in clear view of many people and on CCTV. He then quickly goes to the bike shop and doesn't even really considering buying anything, leaving quickly in clear view of many people and CCTV cameras. Then jumps into his last ride, his new BMW, and ultimately is gunned down by 3 assailants. Could these just be the fall guys? Paid a nominal fee to plead guilty and stay silent? Sometimes this option seems far too simple to me. X was a fighter. Was he really tapping out? Did he really think death was his only option? Or was his death far deeper, much more symbolic? Was the only way to balance the scales, to redirect the inertia of the universe, the debt that he incurred to get where he got, to sacrifice himself? Did X pour all his blood in the cup of Babylon? Did he realize his death served a much bigger purpose in the big picture of things? Or was he led to believe this? As X raps in Vice City, the evolution is near. The brains will start to abandon their religions and believe in themselves, and then the New World Order will start. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe and press that bell to not miss any new uploads. Make sure to check out part 1 as well. The goal from here on out is 1 video per week. Follow me on X and Instagram at Hidden AmuraKa. If you'd like to support the channel and go far deeper, subscribe to my Patreon. If you want to go even further, I've written 5 books at this point that cover all things esoteric, from Alpha to Omega, sexual alchemy to DMT entities, to the power of numbers and everything in between. Thanks for all my Patreons and supporters on all social media. What is real will prosper. Anima Vesta. So mote it be.